Hello ladies and gentlemen, Legend Commentaries here, bringing you today a commentary on LeBlanc in a 5v5 on Summoner's Rift. Gonna go through her abilities very quickly here before the footage. Her passive, when you're brought below 40% health, you go stealth for a second, becoming untargetable, and then your mirror image conjures up. People can't tell the difference, it's kind of like a Shaco clone, except for it does no damage. Her Q, Sigil of Silence, launches an orb, dealing damage. It then marks the target for 3.5 seconds. And if you hit them again with another ability in that 3.5 second duration, then they'll be silenced and it'll deal bonus damage. Her W, Distortion, is like a flash. When you flash from a location, you do damage upon landing, and then if activated within the next 3 seconds again, you flash back to your origin location. Ethereal Chains is a skill shot. If you land it, then it'll attach to an enemy, and it will stay there for 2 seconds. And then after 2 seconds, if you're still leashed and the range doesn't go past 1,000, then you will stun them and take magic damage again. So you do basically 2 sources of damage if you can stay in range of the enemy throughout the entire duration. And then your ultimate, you just do the same thing as the previous spell that you cast, dealing increased damage by rank. So you get 10% damage increase on the first rank, then 25%, and then 40%. For my runes, I went for a lot of ability power, making sure to get some Magic Pen reds, as well as some Mana Regen per 5 at level 18 yellows, and then I went for all ability power, flat ability power for quintessences and my blues. And then for my masteries, I went for the very standard 21 in offense and 9 in utility. In offense, the only thing that's different is I gave up 2 ability power in order to have 2 bonus damage on minions to make last hitting a little bit easier. I really like it because it does seem to help my farm out quite a bit. You guys can choose whichever one you want, but that's just what I went with. So let's jump on into the footage here. I go mid with LeBlanc, of course, and I'm against an Anivia. Now, the great thing about LeBlanc is all of her escape, all of her burst, everything comes all together in such a great sync with such great AP ratios that you can really dominate anyone mid. Now, of course, people like Mordekaiser, Morgana, that kind of champion are going to be a little bit more trouble because you really depend on people who you can burst down. You're going to see me, well here, not a great example. This is an example of how you can actually get countered pretty decently by champions with ranged junglers. So maybe not ranged attacks, but at least junglers like Lee Sin with his jump and that kind of thing, where you can get pretty easily focused. And this is an example of using your ultimate and whatnot. Here comes the bait. I popped my ultimate there, just got it at level 6. She comes in, 1 Q and my ultimate, and she's dead. That much burst all the time is great for any mid because you're going to be going against a lot of people in the current meta. You know, you see people like Kennen or Cassiopeia, that kind of thing. Well, Cassiopeia maybe not so much. But you see a lot of people mid that are really squishy that you can burst down really quickly. So there's 2 basic areas of LeBlanc's gameplay. And it's really only early and late. Late being post level 6. So early game, what you want to do is you want to level up your Q, and then you want to level up your W, and then you want to level up your E. So you should have all 3 skills by level 3, and then you want to start harassing. That means get off a Q, W in, W out. Get off a Q, W in, W out. Do this pretty much every time both of them are up, and you should be able to get a kill before level 6. If you haven't gotten one by level 6, that's when you want to go get your ultimate, and then the first time you come back to lane, W in, okay, with your flash, Q, ultimate, W out. And you should kill them. If you don't kill them, maybe an E will do it, maybe your ignite will do it, maybe you can flash and get another Q off, that kind of thing. But you definitely want to be always conscious that your ultimate has such a low cooldown, it really doesn't matter. I mean, with the blue buff, like I have right now, your ultimate cooldown is pretty much non-existent. It's like a regular ability for some champions. So you can use your ultimate every time you have an engagement and get kills really easily. Or, like here, I don't even need my ultimate. I flash, use my W to get back out of turret range after I go in to deal the damage on her. And it's fairly easy. I also use my E there to try and catch anyone behind me, because that's another key element of LeBlanc's gameplay is you want to use that E and slow any enemies that are running away from you, or to run away from enemies that are chasing you. So if someone's behind you, toss an E back, it will slow them for the entire 3.5 seconds, and then at the end of that duration it'll stun them in place, leaving you with a lot of CC and maybe even the chance to turn on someone. So here, LeBlanc's mobility kind of being showcased. Anivia went bot. After I called the Mia, they didn't really go Mia, or they didn't really go back, and they took out their turret, but I guess I get my Ignite kill on Blitz. I don't know how no one else got that. But yeah, it's pretty simple to play LeBlanc. You want to build her straight AP, go for your Source Boots and 2 Doran's Rings early, and then build that straight into a Rabadon's, and then from that Rabadon's, go to a Death Cap, a Void Staff, a Zhonya's Hourglass, and then maybe an Abyssal Scepter if you want some magic resist, that kind of thing. Just a very standard AP build, but Deathfire Grasp is kind of a big deal, because if it goes late game, which it shouldn't, if you get LeBlanc, games are either going to be like this, or they're going to be terrible. So you kind of got to decide, but LeBlanc's really a pretty easy champion to play. I'd really recommend trying her out if you don't really play that many AP mids, and giving her a shot, adding her to your repertoire of champions. Hopefully this kind of gave you guys an idea of how to play her. It was very brief, but I hope it demonstrated all the aspects that you need to do well in your own games. They surrendered early. Fed LeBlanc equals GG. This has been Legend Commentaries. Have a great day. Love you, and goodbye.